Your microphone to Guy there in the middle.
Kane, can you just explain how you're feeling, how the boys are feeling, and how that one played out for you in your mind?
Yeah, obviously a brilliant fighting effort from our guys on what was another tough surface, and sort of required that mentality, and it was really important that we were prepared to do that and stay in the game for a long time. We all know the class side that India are. At the halfway stage, we sort of wanted 240, 250, and we knew that we'd be competitive if we got that, because the surface played the way it did. But then to have the start with the ball that we had was an outstanding way to try and kick things off and try and get into a position of strength. And I thought the way the bowlers and the fielders operated throughout on a big field, on a surface which they had to adapt differently again, was a great effort.
Yeah. Kane, Virat said a little while back that India lost in about 45 minutes of bad cricket. Was that also your assessment, that at 24 for 4, probably you had won the game?
I mean, it's very hard to know exactly, but naturally when you find yourself in that position, it's a great starting point from our perspective in terms of perhaps getting ahead of the game, because the rebuilding phase becomes a lot more tricky. So it was a brilliant start for us with the ball, and I guess on the other side of that coin, India wouldn't have been as happy with that start, but there were some good deliveries in there, which sometimes take the edge and sometimes don't. And today they did for us, and it did put us in a good position.
Kane, can you just take us through the Guptill run-out scenario with Dhoni, because that seems to have been the pivotal moment in the match?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that the game is a fine line in a number of ways, but that run-out was significant. We've seen Dhoni finish games from those similar positions on a number of occasions. It was a tough surface, so nothing promised, but naturally to dismiss Dhoni in whatever fashion is extremely important. But for a direct hit run-out, very, very similar to Jadeja's, I think, was a big moment in the game.
Kane, what was going through your mind when you were standing under that catch from Jadeja? Did you feel like that was the other game-changing moment?
Just to watch the ball and catch it, which was nice that it stuck. Look, we did believe on that surface that we would get opportunities, especially when they were going hard, but the innings that Jadeja played, it was like he was playing on a different wicket, really. He timed the ball beautifully well. He was very, very clear in how he operated in that partnership with Dhoni. Sort of swung things to parity, perhaps even them having the momentum going into those last few overs. So they showed those fighting qualities that we expect from our team, and they showed that with the class side that they are, and you do expect that from India, and they did soak it up even after 20 for 4, which was a really tough start. So a very good game of cricket, spanning over 2 days, which is unusual, but a great game all the same.
Hi Ken, this is Kuntal from ABP News Network. My question is, people are still blaming Dhoni even after his innings. Had you been the India captain today, would you have taken Dhoni in your playing 11 now?
He's not eligible to play for New Zealand, but he's a world-class player. So, had I been the Indian captain? Experience at this level and in these occasions is so important, and his contribution today and yesterday, but throughout this campaign, it was extremely important, and that partnership that he's involved in with Jadeja, who came in and hit the ball better than anybody in both teams, was very, very valuable. And he's a world-class cricketer, and is he looking to change nationalities, or because we will consider that selection if we have to.
Skipper, your team made it here. Your team made a great start, winning 6 games. They lost 3 games. How did transformation come in the team, and you beat the Indian, the hot favourites of the World Cup?
There's so much more to winning and losing, and I think it's really, really important that as a side you identify parts of matches where you may have not done things that well, and parts that perhaps were out of your control that went the way of the opposition, and try and look at it for what it is, and move away from that game with a bit of clarity, and so you're not too perhaps scarred or dented from just what the result was. And a couple of those games that we lost, I think we were able to look at them like that throughout this whole tournament. The surfaces have been challenging. They've been variable throughout the game, and at times have changed within the 100 overs that are available for a match. So it's trying to see it for what it is, and then move on and be really clear with how you want to operate in the next game. Look, you want to win every game. You come to this tournament where anybody can beat anybody. We saw a number of results that perhaps were sides ranked lower beat sides ranked higher, but I think everybody knew that anybody can beat anybody. So when that is the nature of it, it seems unlikely to win every game, but at the same time you want to try and go out and play the cricket that you want to play for a long period of time, and rely on that to perhaps get you to a finals stage, which we did. We came through in the 4th position, which is fine. And then we put out a much improved performance in the semi-final, and it's important for us to try and make small improvements moving into our next match.
Down the back, Dave.
Kane, just looking ahead to the final, you've obviously lost to Australia and England in the group stage, but you must be confident you can beat anyone now after the way you've played against India.
I mean, every game throughout the round robin was worth a couple of points, so they're all important. Obviously, a semi-final's worth a few more than 2 points, but we'll go into another match and try and implement similar things that are important to our side that gives us the best chance of success. There's so many strong teams in the tournament. Obviously, another semi-final tomorrow that can go either way, 2 very good sides. But we turn up on the day like a lot of other matches, and anybody can beat anybody, and there's a lot of factors involved sort of within that will play their role, whether it's a final or another game perhaps tomorrow. So it's important that feet on the ground, and we look forward to that challenge.
Kane, bit of a unique game spanning over 2 days. How was it last night? I mean, did you guys get much sleep? Was it nerves? And did it really help to sort of regroup after you put up around 211 and 240?
I think guys slept pretty well. We were focusing on what we needed to achieve in those last sort of 4 overs, and 211 for 5, we felt we were kind of there or thereabouts on target with what we wanted to try and achieve to be competitive on that surface. And it wasn't the sort of wicket that it was 300, it was very much sort of mid 200s, and we were aware of that. So it was trying to get to that 240, 250 stage, against a formidable bowling attack and that of India. So we knew we had to certainly run our 2s well and use those last sort of 23 deliveries as well as we could to get us to that point. And then it was a brilliant start with the ball. So yeah, it was unique that it was over 2 days, but I think it was the right decision in the end. Naturally it just kept raining, didn't it? So we didn't really have a say, but it was great that day could come in handy, certainly from our perspective. Obviously, when you qualify in the 4th position, and a washout doesn't really help you out too much.
Just left here.
Yeah, Kane, second consecutive World Cup final, beating India when everybody was sort of tipping India to. So, do you think, what does it mean for cricket's profile in New Zealand? I mean, rugby is the number 1 sport. So, I
don't think it'll change the number 1 sport, but I'm sure people back home are pretty excited, and another great opportunity to play in a World Cup final is something that's rare. Obviously, only every sort of 4 years do you get the opportunity to play in a World Cup, let alone make a final. So, a special moment. But at the same time, we sort of just want to reflect on the good things we did in this match and the things we want to improve on, and try and treat it in a similar respect. So we go into that game and we need to go in and play our best cricket, and what happens sort of in and around that is kind of out of our control.
You chose Bowl to bowl the 46th and 48th. Was there a thought, should I delay him for the 49th or the 50th? And how tough was the decision for you as a captain? And secondly, when you're taking under those catches, does any thought pop in your head at all? Or attention? What's the feeling? What exactly happened when the ball is up? What were you thinking, if at all?
Yeah, I suppose you're fairly engaged in the game, so you're kind of watching the ball and you're sort of trying to move the field, and I guess that's the nature of the role as captain. But yeah, look, someone like Trent, obviously a world-class bowler for us. We're trying to use his death overs as well as we could to try and either push the run rate up to a point that it would be more challenging, perhaps hitting to a longer side in those later overs, or B, or I might have got those the wrong way round, but try and dismiss the guys that were batting at the time, Jadeja and Dhoni, who we know can hit the ball a long way and can win games from that position. So trying to use your resources slightly earlier, I think, was a good move. Obviously proved to be an important part of the match, but you never know who's going to pick up the wickets. But then, yeah, in terms of the catches, it was just trying to watch the ball and catch it. I can't remember. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Just someone goes catch it, and it's sort of it's above me, so it must be mine.
Kia ora, Kane. Congratulations. Since the last match against England, your captaincy has copped a lot of criticism. So what do you think a place in the grand final does for the tone of those comments? And what were conversations like with you and other players around the pitch, especially in those vital moments?
Yeah, I sort of don't really know much about the first part of that question, but I guess as a captain of our side, we try and operate in the best way we can to give ourselves the best chance of success, and it's sort of hard to control what other people say, but we're enjoying our cricket and we're looking forward to the next game, which is the final, which is a really exciting opportunity. And the second part of your question, sorry, what did you say?
It was, what were conversations like in the drink breaks and things like that with your players in those, especially in those critical
yeah, it was, whilst we had a very good start with the ball, we knew that India were looking to consolidate, and so if we were able to keep looking to take wickets but also try and create pressure where the run rate was going to keep growing, then we thought there were sort of two bites at it. And we know that the class of the Indian side and the depth that they have in their team, and they showed that again today, but it was a really great thing that we kept showing those fighting characteristics that are important to us as a team, and took the game deep, and it was a fine line, but nice to end up on the right side.
Ken, congratulations. With regards to the middle overs, how important was that Mitchell Santner's spell where he was giving away 7 runs in 6 overs with Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya? Do you think that was actually a key moment of the game where the run rate just went about 8, 9 and then the pressure went on? With India wickets being 5 down, it was difficult for them to chase down?
Yeah, it was an outstanding spell from Santner on a surface that no doubt was offering to the slower bowlers, and we saw that in our innings as well, the amount of spin that the Indian spinners got. And he's a world-class bowler, so we sort of expected he would operate well, but obviously to put up a performance like that was pretty special in a period of play that was very, very important. So, there were so many contributions throughout the match, bat, ball, in the field, that we saw that were vital to get across the line today.
Last three, just over here.
Kane, did Auckland 2015 ever flash in your mind? And how do you compare the emotions of these two semi-finals?
Yeah, it didn't actually, but they were two very different games, and I suppose being in the field together is a slightly different feeling versus watching the majority of the second half from my perspective. But I guess there's that real togetherness, team aspect around trying to, I suppose, defend a total. So two very different games, but I suppose you had to respect them in the same way that they were going to be different, and we had to play in a much different fashion. But a lot of that is down to conditions. But at the end of the day, it's been an enjoyable ride, but important that, like I mentioned, the feet are on the ground, and we look forward to our next challenge.
Kane, I've just been outside with a whole lot of Indian fans and they are really angry. How do you feel being responsible for plunging 1 billion people into a state of mourning and anger and depression?
Your friend down here might have been alluding to. I hope they're not too angry. it's obviously the passion for the game in India is unrivalled, and we're all fortunate to play this sport and have a country like India be right behind it and the support that they have for their home team. But hopefully we can adopt 1.5 billion supporters, and they'll be supporting us. What do you reckon? But yeah, obviously, look, India are a world-class side, and the game of cricket is fickle in its nature, especially when it comes to the white ball in 2020 and one-day cricket. And whether it's a semi-final or a final, nothing really promises. And I've got so many world-class players, and the depth that they have in their team means that they're rightly so ranked 1 or 2. But we've mentioned on a number of occasions, on any given day, anybody can beat anybody, and the game is a very, very fine line. And today, perhaps some of those small margins went our way, and it was great that we could get across the line and beat a very strong side. But at the same time, there's obviously a huge amount of respect for India as a cricket side, and I certainly hope that their fans are very much behind them and respect that the game of cricket can be a tough one on a number of occasions.
Last two, David, then Guy.
Kane, given how Martin Guptill struggled with the bat yesterday, how pleasing was it personally to see him come back today and make such a huge contribution with that run out?
Yeah, that was. I mean, he's probably the only man on the pitch that could perhaps create that run out. So contributions can come in so many different ways, and I think we've seen on the fielding charts he's been right up there, and for him to do that and pull off what was a significant turning point in the match was special, and obviously a great thing for our team.
Guy, last one.
What's the situation with Henry Nicholls? I don't think he came out to field at all, and if he would have had to bat today, would he have been able to?
Yeah, it was sort of a tight hamstring. I don't know the fine details, but we do have a few days now where hopefully it can recover nice and quickly. Didn't have to bat today, didn't have to consider those options, but it was precautionary as well as there is something there, so hopefully it was a quick recovery.
Thanks very much, guys.